EDS2 Storksbill. It's an extraordinary formula, relative to Flower Formula 1, Superfit 2, Heart Power 2, Cedar Hope. This is all for inflammation, huge inflammatory complications. This extraordinarily complex and very powerful formula, immense research has gone into this formula. It's not just the little Storksbill, but research, very deep research, again, going back to the lichens, going back into very, very deep issues, which we won't go into now, but realize that this formula is exquisite, extraordinary, and incredibly, incredibly important. One of the biggest problems with RNA tricuspid is inflammation, massive, massive inflammatory, brain, encephalins, all the vibrations of ultraviolet, which you all know about, the incredible ultraviolet power of the pituitary, the pons varoli, the spinal cord, the cervical vertebra 1, the incredible trauma of anguish, of trauma of change of circumstance, high-powered vibration of being bereft and lonely and lost and heartbroken, this incredible energy of violet and ultraviolet relative to Flower Formula 1, HF1, Lotus, Superfit 2, Eucalyptus, Calm, Heart Power 2, Spiritual Calm, and our very, very powerful special care formula, Cedar Hope, for the brain, for the spinal cord, for concussion, and hope to recover. The crown chakra, which we know vibrates on violet frequency, it's the highest vibration of sunlight, the most powerful energy of fatherhood. Purple or violet is another name for violet, and it's interesting that this color of kings, powerful leaders. Violet energy supports a very strong and loving bond with fatherhood. Father, male relationships, husbands, ourselves as men, our male children, the male line, the RNA line, both of big yang, which is tricuspid, and little yang, which is pulmonary. So massively important male pubescent relationship. We know that when we have a void of violet energy, the disturbances are profound. The spiritual relationship breaks down. We have a need for very high vibrational support. The tricuspid valve of the heart is the master controller, and the results when there is a breakdown are catastrophic. Multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's and brain loss and brain damage, stroke, paralysis, heart attack, incredible high-powered and aggressive illnesses, and cancers and cancers and cancers, all on the increase at the moment, incredibly concerning. So violet is the color of the brain hormone serotonin that we were talking about earlier, the master form brain hormone to control fibrinogen and the megakaryocytes. Very important to control the entire brain hormone pathway, which we won't go into now. Violet flowers balancing the circadian rhythm, the body clock, sleeplessness, stress, anxiety, panic attacks, loss of income, and again leading to suicide and incredible anguish. We are in a very anguished state. And again, this thrombocytopenia, which is a condition on the increase, extremely, extremely concerning. So cerebellum, cerebral cortex, the right eye, orientation and balance, the thinking brain, and obviously we've mentioned fatherhood. So this extremely powerful little flower holds a key, and it's a key which is extraordinarily important. It's the key to the silver thread of procreation, the family tree, the ancestry, the history, the RNA, the incredible genome of humanity, a close family bond, But there we see this terrible, terrible, frightening damage, the repercussions on the physical level through the hypothalamus, the gonadotrophin, the pituitary, the luteinizing hormone, the follicle stimulating hormone, and interstitial cell stimulating hormone. Now, one of the most concerning aspects of a vaccine on top of a vaccine on top of a vaccine is that you start to create a layer upon a layer upon a layer of imbalance. And one of the most concerning of all the vaccines that's been offered to our children and the young of today is, of course, the Gardasil Severix papilloma vaccine, simian virus 6, which, of course, came originally as an introduction through monkey tissue simian virus. The simian viruses I've already mentioned, and I've sent a paper to Moon, so she'll forward it to you. That simian viruses are suddenly on the increase. And what is actually happening, I think, with RNA tricuspid damage is that there is a massive aggravation and activation of previous taints, many of which lie dormant and are perfectly safe and perfectly dormant. They just literally are sleeping. And unless they're activated, they harm nobody. But there is something terrifying about activating dormant lions and tigers, is that they start to become incredibly aggressive. And I think that this is vitally important, that there are reasons why this formula is called Storksbill. I really, really want you to understand how this exquisite knowledge interrelates all the time with what we know. So let's move on to the correlative formulas to support EDS2 Storksbill, this amazing ultraviolet formula. Well, antidating RNA tricuspid damage, we have HeartPower2 spiritual calm, of course, HeartPower2, SuperFit2. So we have easy to remember EDS2, HeartPower2, SuperFit2, and then we have Lotus, flower formula HF1, our most powerful HF, and again special care, Cedar Hope. But if we're supporting the virus and the spiritual conditions, then we need to look, if this is not RNA tricuspid damage that we're dealing with, we would look at constitutional heart power. So we go back to our own heart power when there's serious damage on this level. Say, for example, your father has just died and you urgently need help, you would take EDS2 Storksbill together with your constitutional heart power, with possibly Relax, Superfit 3, or possibly your own choice. Flower Formula 4, Thistle, and Special Care, Apple Calm. We all know how powerful Apple Calm is. And just occasionally, but not always, in antidating RNA tricuspid, I would actually incorporate, instead of Cedar Hope, you can only use one, remember, I would actually use Apple Calm. These two very, very, very important formulas, this new research. Remember that the Institute of Phytobiophysics is a research institute. Remember that you are part of this research. So your feedback is of vital, vital importance. Remember that it is not just me working away on my own. Everything we do is shared. Everything that I study, every aspect of the work that we are all involved with is a shared philosophy. Your knowledge is important to me. I trained with 5 of the most spectacular scientists, some of whom, all of whom have gone, every single one of them. But I was so fortunate to have these extraordinary mentors who gave me their knowledge, they gave me their wisdom, and I've been able to take that knowledge and take that wisdom to create the philosophy of the Mossop philosophy of phytobiophysics for all of you. And again, this is not, what is so exquisite is that we are on the crest of the wave. When you watch those Hawaiian surfers surfing those massive great waves, and they're right on the top of the wave, and then they disappear, and then they suddenly emerge, and you think, how on earth were they not caught up in the whirlwind and drowned? And that is extraordinary, because that is where we are. The wonderful and extraordinary thing about phytobiophysics is that every single patient that you see is part of your research. Every single ounce of knowledge that you have, whether you're homeopaths, whether you're traditional Chinese medical doctors, it doesn't matter where you start and what you know. The exquisite thing is that you are the leaders of knowledge. You are right at the forefront, because your laboratory is the living human being, witnessing, observing, looking at how your patients are handling their lives, and the exquisite ability that humanity has of adapting and healing and surviving. The law of survival, the law of the planet, survival of the fittest. Please, all of you, be that person, be the fittest, so that you can remain well and do this extraordinary, extraordinary work.